Hello, welcome, welcome. We're going to get started here in just a minute or two. Welcome, welcome. We're going to wait. Race, hey, welcome. We're going to just wait a few seconds and we're going to get started. Do our intro here. Just trying to work on some electronics here just before we get started. Laura, welcome to our live mastermind session. We're going to get started here in just a moment. Yo, that's not going to work. Okay. All right. We're just waiting for a little bit here. Jim, welcome. By the way, our cameras are open. If you have something that you want to share, you would love to come on the air and share internationally, I'd love to have you. Okay. The official introduction. I see the numbers coming in. All right. Hey, welcome and thank you for joining me and for supporting our podcast. I hope to inspire and motivate you in the right direction for the right reasons. 45 minutes of mind optimization, spirit recalibration. So get in, buckle up, make sure your seatbelt is nice and tight, and get ready to receive. This is our mastermind solution and an answer. So welcome, welcome. We have a topic today that we're going to be looking at. Of course, if you have a question, if you have an observation, maybe you have a rock you want to throw at me. It's got to be a big rock, because if you're going to throw a rock at me, I want to make sure that you hit me hard. Okay? So have at it. Welcome. Mayor Pork. I hope I got this one right. Okay, we are. If you have a question, feel free. Go ahead. This mastermind, this program, Solutions and Answers, is really for us to find something, right? As I mentioned earlier, to motivate and to move in the right direction. So have at it. I'm here, and we're going to be talking a little bit about mastermind. Let's think about this. What is a mastermind? What is masterminding? That's kind of the topic. What is masterminding and where does it come from? Where does mastermind come from? And how could it help you? How could this program, how could this 45 minutes help us go forward? It's only 1 hour, 45 minutes. How can we take advantage of this time to help ourselves, to improve ourselves, and improve the lives of others also? Let me see. So if you have a question, you want to come on the camera, and let me make sure that I put in my invite. Here to the screen. By the way, we are broadcasting via Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter today. Isn't that cool? So if you want to come on the camera, you're welcome. Listen, I'm not going to, if you want to just come on the camera and share, as long as, we're doing the right things, there's no problem with that. So I don't know what I do. 1 year ago, I got 100,000 BRL because I sold my house. 1 month ago, I lost all. Okay. And I got $23,000 in debts. Now I don't stop. With $200, I paid the 23 and up to 140K positive. Okay. That's positive. You got to look at the positives in this. Okay. So you've got some positives in there. And, when we say to ourselves, I don't know, when we say to ourselves, I don't know what to do, that's exactly what we're going to get. That's exactly what we're going to get. We have to really, that's why this program is so important, I believe, for all of us that are in life that want to be real. It looks like Jim is going to come on the screen here in just a moment. Those of us that want to be real, those of us that want to make it, those of us that want to leave some kind of a legacy, those of us that want to fulfill a mission, we feel called to do something. I think we all feel called to do something will you find that direction for yourself? Will you find it? So speaking about this situation, you have to, obviously you need a plan and you need some accountability to help yourself. Most people do not survive the trip of getting free from gambling because they don't have any accountability. They don't have any accountability at all. I hope that you're hearing. I hope that you're listening honestly, because you're in a bad situation. I don't know exactly the situation that you're in, but it's not a good situation. Obviously, if you're in debt, if you're losing money and you're still gambling, what would I recommend to you? I would recommend send me an email so that we can maybe discuss a plan or something for you. That's what I would say here. Because we can actually get something going in this program. The only way that we can honestly get something going forward for us, we have to be real, we have to be upfront, and we have to look at the situation for what it really is. That's the way. So I'm glad that you're here, Moo. I think saying your name, I'm mentioning your name. I'm glad that you're here. Again, come here on Sundays, get as much as you can, interact, and maybe you can use this place as an accountability partnership. We're here every Sunday, right? If you know that you're going to be back here Sunday, you may be thinking twice about gambling during the week. Hopefully that helps. As I mentioned, there's my email below. Send me an email and I will reach out and do my best to help you. I'm glad you're here. I'm very glad you're here. So, Jim, we're talking about, let me see, do I have you on voice here?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Good, good. We're talking about masterminding. And before there's something here that I want to share here. What is a mastermind, anyways? You have an idea of what a mastermind is, Jim? I've got a few notes in the background we're going to get into. But go ahead and share if do we need a mastermind? Should we have a mastermind? Is it
Okay, so
important? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this program is called Soldiers of Self Mastery. Okay, and I was thinking about you know uh, this, and when we're talking about uh, Soldiers of Self Mastery, it's all about mastering yourself, controlling yourself, knowing yourself so much now you can figure out, anticipate, and control your life. That's basically what it's all about. It's like a lot of people on this program, including myself, you know, it's like it's tough to control certain things in our life, you know, and I mean,
Yeah.
probably the biggest thing that it's difficult to control is ourselves. The world's going
Yeah.
to do what the world's going to do, right?
Yeah.
It's how we respond to what's
Yeah.
what's going on out there. Our emotions, our thoughts, and that's what Soldiers of Self Mastery is all about, mastering self. And you got to learn about yourself. You really have to stop and forget about everything out there. You're gonna need to go and look in the mirror and figure out what's going on up here. Why am I thinking the things that I'm thinking? Why am I feeling the things that I'm feeling? Where did it all come from? you know are they relevant anymore? Do they have any status? you know are they something that's insignificant? Are they significant? I mean, these are the questions. We have to open up some of these doors, and start really, really analyzing ourselves, learning about ourselves, and then we can start taking the steps to making positive change. you know that's what it is. And you talk about mastermind group. We're all here to share good ideas. We're here to share good ideas. We're all on this process. You're a little bit further along than a lot of us on the journey. you're sharing a lot of information, experiences, the pitfalls, good things, bad things, wisdom is what we're kind of sharing, experiences.
Yeah,
So yeah, mastermind is coming together and to share, good ideas to help um, understand ourselves and control ourselves.
that's it. It's peer to peer, as it says on the screen. Peer to peer mentoring group used to help members solve their problems with input and advice with the other group members. And as you said, Jim, you've hit the nail right on the head. The the we have a major problem today, and of course, problem gamblers fit right into this mold very easily. We don't, we can't, it's hard for us to pay attention. It's hard for us to discipline ourselves when we're in an environment of finding solution or finding an answer. It really is um, a challenge for most people. It really is. Now we have an hour. I come here, I rack my brain constantly, all the time, because we do have this is a mastermind group that we've got going on here. Now, this mastermind group can grow and it can benefit us if we take advantage. If we take advantage, the problem gambler can take advantage of this 7 p.m., 45 minutes that we have here if they're willing. If they're willing, and you must be willing, because if you're not willing, all you're doing is basically, this is just kind of like a what is that, a rerun, or a, what is that program that they put on TV now, and series. Yeah, it's just part of a series, and you're not really benefiting from it. We absolutely we absolutely must learn to benefit from a mastermind. And by the way, Jim, how many people does it take to, it's not a trick question, but how many people do you think it takes to be a mastermind?
Mastermind, like a mastermind group, how many people?
Yeah, how many people, what's the minimum people that you can have and have a mastermind?
Oh, well, I mean, like, I guess if the point is sharing,
Hmm.
I mean, like, you can, extrapolate and say, yeah, you can mastermind with yourself. You can talk to yourself, but I think it's important to get other people's perspectives, ideas, and experiences too, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I got a proverb I want to read, and I want to answer your question. Mastermind has to do with one or two, well, actually, at least two people, at least two, because you know we can only see so much in ourselves, and we can only see so much in a situation. Everybody has a different view. Everybody, it's like, I have a perspective, Jim has a great perspective, Race, you have a perspective, MMFILLC has a perspective, DE, Laura has a perspective. When we come together and we willing to share ideas, we can enhance a mission, we can enhance our lives, we can enhance ourselves away from problem gambling very, very easily, because there is power in numbers. There is power in numbers. Now, where I believe the mastermind originated, now again, this is my philosophy. You don't have to believe me. You can research it for yourself if you want. There's many people that talk about masterminds, many authors, Napoleon Hill, Anthony Robbins, there's Earl Nightingale, and of course the Bible in Genesis 1:26 has something to say about a mastermind. And I want to read that because it is the proverb for today. It ties in. Genesis 1:26, it says, and God said, let us make man in our image. Let us make man in our image. So there's, us is more than one. It's actually referring to something in the Hebrew, I believe. I believe it's Hebrew or Chaldee, Elohim, which means more than one. So let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the the fall of the air and the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. Now, let me ask you guys something. Do we feel like we're in control over these things? Do we feel like we're in control over the air? Do we feel like we're in control over the fish, over the land? It looks like things, to me, it appears like things are getting out of hand really, really quickly. Anyhow, that's where I believe a mastermind session started. It started back in the Bible. Napoleon Hill, I believe, was a religious man. And he talks very, very powerfully in the book, Think and Grow Rich, about mastermind. And I believe, this might even sound crazy, but I believe that you can mastermind with yourself if you get to that place where you can be creative, be childlike. And to some of you, this might be new. The more we become like little children in our imagination and our creativity, the faster we will break through these areas that we're all in. You notice children don't, they just do things, right? They have their minds always going, their creativity, they're always looking for things. You notice children, they're always like moving, and that's where we need to get back to. Either that, or we're just going to continue to struggle with our problems, struggle with gambling, struggle with our life, struggle with relationships. So, um, the other question that I have: how does a mastermind help? Why is it important? Why do you, at this point in time, Jim, do you feel there's an important to being part of a mastermind?
Yeah, there's several reasons why. Um, well, number one, accountability. There's some good positive pressure to get you to do and behave the way the group, is kind of agreeing to, behave with the direction. I mean, there's a little bit of pressure right there. I mean, there's some accountability. That's one thing about a mastermind group. Um, another thing is that when we focus on these good ideas that we talk about, our mind just tends to look for those things in life, right? And then we can go out and share our experiences. Then we teach other people, but that's good. But the best thing is you're teaching yourself. You're hearing it again. You're reinforcing these good ideas. These positive things that you see, the things that you're doing, the things that you're going through. When you're moving towards the direction that the mastermind group wants to go in. So yeah, I mean, those are the things that I believe a mastermind group helps everyone with.
Yeah, and I come to this, and thank you for sharing that, because exactly what it says. It's a create a goal, then design, as it says on the screen there. Group helps you with creative ideas and wise decision making. Again, if you take advantage of the situation, if you take advantage of the environment. We all come here. Some of us, sometimes we get large groups that come through viewing, and then we get small groups. We all have these challenges that we're trying to overcome, and we all have pride. Pride is probably the killer. Pride is what holds you back from taking notes. Pride is what holds you back from asking questions. Pride is what holds you back from your your success, your own pride. That gets mixed up in your mind, it gets mixed up in your emotions, and we could be taking advantage. I went through some training a couple of weeks ago, and I was in a it was a pretty good sized group, and I was sitting there. I was kind of intimidated, and because it was something new, it was a new training. But then in my mind, I remember things that we talk about. Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. I'll say that again. Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. The opposite of that is true. Well, towards the end of the training, they asked a question typically, "Hey, who wants to try this?" Or who wants to, And I raised my hand up very quickly, something that I'm not used to doing, something that I don't normally do. I usually wait for somebody else, right? Consensus, like Robert Cialdini talks about. If others are doing it, then it's okay for me to do it too. No, sometimes you got to raise your hand and say, you know what, I'm in there. Whether you make a mistake or not, raise your hand, step up to the plate, and get rid of the pride. Because pride comes, the Bible and many books say that pride comes before the fall. So, yes, create a goal, planning to achieve it. The group helps you to create with creative ideas and wise decision making. Then, as you begin to implement your plan, you bring both success stories and problems to the group. Jim, I got a question for you. You've been coming here for a while, you've been part of this program here. What's one thing that you feel that this mastermind group has helped you in some way? A
Um, it's all,
discipline
yeah.
or
I mean, it's all about learning about yourself. I mean, self mastery. You talk about self mastery. It's finding out. It's looking at yourself, looking at your emotions, looking the way you think, the way you talk. The way you respond to people. You know, it's a good reminder. It's a good way to keep yourself grounded in focusing on on improving um, your understanding of yourself, control of yourself, um, emotions, you know, thoughts, habits. You start looking at yourself a little bit more. Um, I mean, if you ever go into, I don't know, like an example, you go into a restaurant, right? You see, like there's a little bit of trash on the floor, right? And then it's like then your antennas go up, right? Then you start looking at the silverware, right? You see little crusts of food, right? Your mind starts looking for certain things. Your mind starts looking for certain things because you're focused and aware of it, right? And this show
aware.
helps you focus on the important things if you want to master yourself, right? It just keeps you focused.
Mm,
Just looking at yourself, looking at your feelings, looking at your ideas, asking questions. So that's the benefit of this show. It's just a
and
constant weekly reminder. It's a
that's
reminder.
good.
And you said that, right? Life is going to come out of a good constant series of positive reminders, right?
Yeah,
Every Sunday. Be somewhere in a good group, mastermind group with positive people, with positive ideas, with positive thoughts, encouraging thoughts, negativity, no, no, encouragement, yes, right?
yeah,
There's so much trash out there, man. So much
yeah,
stuff that is dumb, goofy, just it just fills your mind with a bunch of nonsense that's like junk food, right?
yeah,
You can get poisoned. Best to
yeah.
focus on something good like this program.
Yeah, we waste so much time. Hi, Emily. I met Emily last night at my part-time gig. Yeah, she was cool. She's going back to Washington. Anyhow, welcome to the broadcast. Yeah, I admit from being on this broadcast, I've learned a lot. And one of the things that I've learned is to be accountable. You know, problem gamblers, and whether you're a business owner, whether you're a family man, a problem gambler, one of the major problems that we have in all of these areas is having accountability, having somebody that will look you in the eye and tell you yes or no. We ourselves, and you talked about this, there's so much junk, there's so much confusion out there. Sometimes we don't even know, like, let me bring this up. When you say this, and I fall into this also, I don't know what to do, right? When you fall into this I don't know syndrome, that's exactly what you get. I don't know. And if you continue to keep that kind of philosophy, of course, we this is something that we can break away from. If you continue to keep that kind of philosophy, it doesn't matter where you go. You can enter a mastermind group and you won't really get much out of it. We have to get away from this I don't know. We have to get into let's seek a solution. Let's seek an answer. Let's find something. You know, if you want to make $10,000 a month, you're not going to make $10,000 a month by focusing on five. If you want to make 10,000 a month, you got to focus on 10,000. Somehow you'll get there if you focus on it. It's just like the gambler. The gambler should be focused on, man, how can I deliver myself, right? Gambling is a lie. Gambling is a horrible, horrible, horrible habit. It will destroy you literally, physically, spiritually. It almost did me. That's why I'm so enamored and making sure that young people, middle age, people that make a lot of money, people that don't make a lot of money hear this message, because gambling is it appears to be a fun pastime, but it's not, and it will destroy you. It will destroy. It'll destroy you. Never mind your money. Money you can make. You can lose all the money and remake it. But when you get lost, it's hard to come back from that. It's hard to come back from bitterness. It's hard to come back from regret. It's hard to come back from losses. And the further you go as a gambler or whatever it is that you're entangled in, the further you go, obviously, the further you go into it, the harder it becomes. And for some people, they never make it out. I believe everyone needs a mastermind group. If God talks about mastermind, and of course he had 12 disciples, there were 13 actually, 13 disciples. That was his group, and through that group, the Gospels, the Bible was the word was spread throughout the times, and we do need. Wouldn't it be cool if they taught this in school? Hey, make sure that you build a mastermind group before you get out of high school, or when you start getting into school, they start talking about mastermind groups, finding collaborative partners, people of accountability, people that will actually tell you the truth, no sugarcoating stuff. What do you think about that, Jim? You were a teacher. Did they ever teach anything on mastermind when you were when you were
Well, I
teaching?
remember. It's funny. You made me think about Robert Kiyosaki
Yeah,
and Rich Dad Poor Dad. He writes this book. He's an entrepreneur and talks about
yeah.
becoming wealthy. And he talked about how in school, you know, the kids who cooperate on a test, they're punished, right? Their creative ways of finding the answer, is wrong. But in real life, you have to collaborate, you have to work together, you have to, find
Mhm.
answers from other people. So school is kind of, it's a different way of looking at it. But yeah, collaboration is very important. You're talking about school. I remember, I read a book. I don't know, you probably read it too, in high school, The Odyssey by Homer. And, it's a Greek mythology, or it was
I
like
might have
a
been asleep during
epic.
that, but
Yeah, yeah, this guy, he's on an adventure, and he's sailing the seas. Okay, this Odysseus, or Ulysses, and he has his men with him on the boat, and they know that they're going to be passing through like a bunch of mermaids, an area where there's a bunch of mermaids or sirens. And these
yeah.
sirens, they sing sweetly, and they really enchant and tempt the men, right? Because they're beautiful and they sing. But they actually eat the guys. They eat the sailors, eat them up.
Oh,
You know.
wow.
Now, Odysseus knew about this, but he wanted to hear the sirens, but he had his men put, I think, wax in their ears and tie him up really tight to the mast. Now that got me thinking about, self mastering. It made me think about temptation, right? There's tons and tons and tons of temptation, every day in our life. right? And it's
Yeah.
always singing to us, right? Singing to us. Oh, watch this YouTube funny cat video. Oh, go to the casino. Oh, have some alcohol. Oh, do some drugs. You'll feel good. So many temptations. And that's where I'm coming back to it. You got to know yourself. You got to know these temptations. And you have to think, okay, I know that stuff is happening. I know those temptations are out there. Where's my rope? You know, where's my rope, to tie me down so I don't go
Yeah.
to
Where's my
those
rope?
temptations? Who are those people who can help me, hold me down to prevent me from getting to those temptations, succumbing to those temptations. So, yeah, I mean, that's another thing about yourself. What are those temptations in your life? And are they good or bad? Are they helping you or hurting you? Right?
Yeah.
And if they're bad, what are you going to do about it? Right? What are you going to do about it? All right? Make a plan. Right? And I think if we can just be conscious of all these things that are happening in our life, things that are trying to take our money, take our time, take our emotions. So I look at Fox and MSNBC and all these major networks, right? The temptation of making you angry, watching all this stuff on TV, the media, the propaganda, this and that, right? Right?
Yeah.
To make you angry. So you got to watch this, watch out. We got to watch out. We got to understand ourselves and figure out a way to prevent us from moving in the wrong direction.
Yeah. You said something about these experiences that we have to be conscious, and then we have to be consciousness. We have to be understanding ourselves and understanding the environment. A lot of times we're not even paying attention to what's going on. A
Yeah.
lot of times we're not paying attention, and things can be so subtle. Like, this is an hour program, 45 minutes. A problem gambler can come in here and get solutions out of this program. You take some notes, and then you got to take action. That's the funny part. Actually, that's not the funny part, but that's the most hardest part, right? Is to take action. A lot of things are just very, very um, innocent and like almost invisible. Some experiences that we have that come at us that we can take advantage of and use it for the right purpose. We don't even, it's like invisible sometimes to us. We don't take advantage of it. But yet we'll find ourselves complaining about things that we don't need to be complaining. As a matter of fact, if you want to know one way to stop your gambling, here's one easy way to stop your gambling. Don't complain about it. If you stopped complaining about your gambling habit, if you stopped complaining, if you stopped talking about it, if you stopped all of that, if you stopped, one easy life hack. Now, is this, how challenging would this be for you to do? I don't know, but I know it's doable. You decide it's possible. You decide, you believe, you turn on your belief, you turn it on, and you use the power of your own word, and you can get yourself away from gambling. You turn on belief, because if you don't turn on belief, it's not going to happen. You have to turn on belief, and another thing is that you have to, that's one thing that's good about masterminds, is that you learn how to talk to yourself, and especially when you're by yourself, you have to learn how to talk to yourself, because if you don't, Jim, we beat ourselves up. Gamblers are notorious. I remember I used to slap myself, and I would always say to myself, always say this: I'm not coming back. I'm not going to do this anymore. Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. But I don't believe that that was filled with faith for me to believe, because every other, I would come back. And I'd find myself in this cycle, and I was repeating the cycle, and I would talk about the cycle, and then I would find myself in this cycle. So I found that the way for me to get out of that cycle was to talk opposite and to behave. Earl Nightingale talks about this. You want to act as though the person that you want to become, you are that person. How do you act? Because we're all actors. Jim, we're acting. We're all actors. Some of us are better than others. What is it that you need to act like? What performance do you need to start putting on in your life in order to move away from problem gambling or from whatever it is that you're wanting to move away from? You have to take action. You have to take action. And this is a good place to learn, good place to ask questions, a good place to really think, you know.
Yeah, you
And
talk about mind mouth power, speak it into existence, right? Mind mouth power, speak it into existence. Doesn't matter if you screwed up, right? Doesn't matter if you screwed up.
I
You
screw up
just
all
keep
the time in
going.
front of you guys.
Just keep going. You just keep going, right?
That's right.
You refine, you refine, you refine, right? You're getting better and better and better, you know? Um, yeah. So it's a process, self mastery, self improvement, it's a process. It doesn't happen all at once, but
Nope.
take little steps, little steps, you know, reach little victories. For some people here, hey, I only went to the casino one time this week. That might be, or two times instead of five times, right? That's a
Yep.
that's a pretty good step right there. It's like, wow, how about that? And eventually, it's like, shoot, I only went like once a month or something like that. That kind of stuff. It's like, wow. And I think people on this program, I think we all have to agree that, whatever problem that we're facing right now, if we're going to take this problem head on, we have to realize that, you know, it's going to it's going to be a process that requires a total transformation of ourselves, learning about ourselves. And it's not only going to improve this one aspect of your life, it's going to start moving you into a whole new direction that's going to actually improve other parts of your life too. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a big benefit. I mean, you might be down in the dumps right now, because of the problem that you're facing, but realize that because you are, taking on this problem, you started the first steps that just transforming your entire life to a better person, to a stronger person, in the future. And I think
Yeah.
that's very hopeful right there. Very hopeful. Not only am I going to improve this aspect, it's going to transform, my entire life much better, much stronger, you know. I have to say that, gambling is probably the smallest part of your life that has transformed. Wouldn't you say that, Santos? A lot of your thinking, your mindset, your emotions, the way you talk to people, the way you listen to people, I'm sure that has all changed, right?
Oh yeah.
Your life has probably gotten like magnitudes,
Yeah.
better. Not just the gambling is just, that's one aspect, but the way you deal with finances now, the way you deal with other kinds of things in your life, right? It's not like yesterday, not like, 20
No.
years ago, 15, 10 years ago, you know, it's been an improvement, and that's
Yeah.
hopeful, that's hopeful.
Yeah. Yeah. My life is. I'm a whole different person today. In fact, I'm really amazed at the changes because I understand the power of the mind a lot more than I did 3 years ago. 3, 4, 5 years ago, I was struggling with my speech. I was struggling with my thoughts. I was not confident at all. I wouldn't, a podcast, a mastermind session, that wouldn't be in the work at all. But I replaced gambling with self mastery, is what I've done. I've become engrossed. I've become, Anthony Robbins says that if you're going to do something, go all out, go all in. If you want to make a change, if you really want to stop gambling, go all in. Because if the reason why you're not gambling, the reason why you're still gambling is because you haven't given that up and you haven't replaced it. So we have to replace the vacuum. If you give something up in life that's a vice, you got to replace it with something else immediately. Immediately. You got to open the door and step inside. Or else, the temptation comes. How do we deal? How do I deal with temptation? Well, you don't run from temptation. You face it head on. If you're going to stop gambling, you got to face it. Okay, well, I usually gamble every 2 to 3 days, right? I know the trigger. I'm going to get angry. I'm going to get in an argument. I'm going to go to work. Somebody's going to say the wrong thing. Or you're going to get a paycheck, a nice extra paycheck with extra $250. It's coming. Prepare for it. You know it's coming, right? The wise man sees trouble up ahead. That's the proverb we've always shared. The wise man sees trouble up ahead and he hides himself. Those are the only ways that we can get ahead. And it may take time. It may take a little bit longer for you. I tell you, I've always remember this. Jim, you mentioned this word, and it's been around for a long time, but it didn't make an impact in me until when you said it on that broadcast, collateral damage. I'm still working through my collateral damage. That's why I tell you, if you're gambling right now, if you're a gambler and you're gambling in this day, if you don't have a handle on your experience, I can tell you, you're setting yourself up for something horrible, for a nightmare, for a dark journey. And it's going to come. Oh, it's going to come. You're not going to be able to avoid it. Um, Again, you can avoid it now if you see it, right? But you got to face the temptation. You know when you get tempted. We know. We all know. We just need to be honest, and some things we're not going to be able to do, Jim. Some things we're just not going to be able to overcome immediately, right? There's some areas, but you said something that as soon as you change one area, it opens up the doors for many other areas.
That's right. That's right.
It'll just open. I've noticed that ever since I stopped gambling, I've seen other areas of my life and I've improved upon many, many as a result of stopping gambling. Just as a result of stopping gambling, I've enhanced other areas, which is
I think this program, one of the most important parts of this program is to help us imagine a better future. It directs us to see what does life look like if I can reach this goal, if I can kick this habit, if I can beat this thing. What will my life look like? What will my bank account look like? What will my health look like? What will my family life look like? My friends. What is life going to be like in, like, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Imagine, the good stuff that can happen if you, take the necessary steps to improve your habits, get rid of bad habits, really understand yourself. Seeing this kind of stuff, reminding ourselves what life can look like later on in the future. Because for a lot of us, it sucks right now, right? It sucks. It's challenging, it's tough, you know, and we need hope, right? The opposite of hope is despair, right? Very, very sad, sad place to be, you know.
yeah,
What is it? Yeah. So I mean, that's why mastermind groups like this is important. So we can keep seeing, seeing that good vision of the future. Creating that good vision in our future in our mind, so we have something to work towards. Start making a plan.
exactly. Exactly. By the way, we're almost wearing the same colors, Jim.
Oh yeah.
You must have got a sneak peek before I started. Yeah. Anyhow, my friends, we've by the way, gambling is a lie, and gambling is the word gambling to me is a metaphor. The word gambling is a metaphor for something else. There's something behind it. There's something that is causing that effect. So, whatever it is, you must find it, or it's finding you, and it will continue to find you. So we are just about at the end of the program. I do have a call to action here. Let me see. I want to thank Laura, and I definitely want to thank Facebook, Twitter. Shout out to Twitter. Hey, Jay. By the way, thank you for your support. As I mentioned earlier, I do want to thank you guys. I want to thank you for joining me and supporting our podcast, our mastermind session. And I'm hoping to inspire you in the right direction for the right reason. So if you feel supported, please support this mission. I'll do my best to support you in return. Uh, so thank you. I appreciate that support. Race, thank you. And by the way, I want to send a big thank you to Jim. Also, Jim has been a big support to this mission. So thank you, Jim, for being with us and helping us. You're out of Tucson, Arizona. By the way, if you're into bicycling, if you would like a motorized bike, if you want to get healthy,
If you want to
Jim's
save
the
money on
man.
gas.
Jim's the man to see because he's got some excellent bikes that could be put on the road in no time, and you could be well on your way to saving gas.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right. So Laura, Emily, thank you. Race, appreciate you. Hopefully you're reading that book out there in Ohio, I believe. Yeah, Ohio. Did I get Emily, Laura? And there was a few. Let me see. MMC, MMILL. There are some wicked forces in effect. Yes. Hopefully you've gotten some information here that helps you a little bit on how to get ahead. Again, it's about accountability. It's about having accountability, having people in your life, alliances. We're realizing more and more today that we need people that are honest, people that are straightforward, people that go out of their way to serve, to help us. Um, if we're not careful, we can get into that syndrome of like an I don't care attitude. And I'm not talking about giving money to people all the time. I pass homeless people at McDonald's or some other place, and I don't give. I might buy a hamburger once in a while, but I don't give money to these people like I used to. I used to feel sorry for these people all the time. And then I realized, well, wait a minute, okay, this guy's out here now, depending on the situation, I may provide a meal. But for me to give money like that, no, because then we keep them there. We keep these people right there, right? We hold them accountable to that position in life. But if you pull the plug, they got to go elsewhere. They have to fight. They have to dig to get what they need. And that might be to some people, that might be they might feel, well, you should give to the homeless all. No, I don't believe in that. You got to have standards in your life. You got to know where to give and where not to give. And you as a gambler or non-gambler, you need to know where you need to give and how you need to give to yourself. Now I'm gonna do the call to action here. Here's my call to action. Follow up what you started twice already. Follow up on what you started twice. Okay? Stick with it like rubber cement. Rubber cement usually works pretty good. Liquid nails is actually one that's better because whatever you stick with that stays permanent. Okay. So whatever you start, put some liquid nails to it. Let it be permanent. All right. Be sure to support this mission. Buy a book, give one away. One on one coaching is available for personal inspiration and accountability. Also, importantly, I'm going to see you again next Sunday at 7 p.m. Right. We'll be back here at 7 p.m. So, Jim, I'll give you the last words here.
Okay, so yeah, I just want to just recap. It's important to know yourself. Really important to know yourself. Keep on this never-ending quest to learn about yourself, find out about yourself. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. You know, um, it's a journey, really. And think of it as like an exciting journey. You know, Emotions are big, but we have the ability and we have the kind of the responsibility of being able to respond to our emotions. Right, stuff happens, stuff triggers us, but if we're aware of ourselves, we have the ability to respond in a positive way to the emotions that we have, and hopefully later we can control our emotions, and steer our emotions to how we want to feel instead of letting the world just toss us around. So yeah, don't stop learning about yourself. Don't stop, keep at it.
Exactly. And keep coming back to the mastermind. You never know when I might get it right. You never know when Jim might get it right. Well, we're working towards that. We're improving every single day. We're believing, we're improving. We're going to have a better week. Yes, the whole world is on fire. That doesn't mean that we have to be on fire. If we're going to be on fire, let us be on fire for the right reasons, for the right things. So, with that said, I'll hang up for a minute if there's a question or two. Thanks, Jim, for hanging out. How's the weather, by the
Thank
way,
you.
out there in
It's getting
Tucson?
warmer, about 90, 91 degrees, so it's picking up. It's nice. It's nice. I know it's going to get hotter, in April and May, but enjoy it while it lasts.
Definitely. Jay Martin says, Gracias, Boricua. You're very welcome. Once again, thank you guys for hanging out with me. We've come to the end of the broadcast. As I mentioned, stick with what you start. If you started it twice, make sure that you stick with it like rubber cement. And we will see you at the top on the inside on my next program next Sunday at 7 p.m. Peace with strength. Thanks, Jim, for hanging
Thanks,
out.
Santos. I appreciate it. See you next week. Bye.